what can be cool about BDSM is you actually create a conscious container to be those aspects of self with another.
Yes.
And with Eros, which is so sexy. And one of the pieces of subspace that can be so powerful for me is it's not just that my mind lets go, but my body lets go.
Yes.
And when I've been with a partner for a while who really invited my physical body into subspace. So when he expressed his dominance and his power, my whole body relaxed in a way that even if I'm in deep dancing surrender, it doesn't relax the same way. Even if I'm in ecstatic meditation surrender or plant medicine space with my girlfriends, right? It doesn't relax in the same way. There was like a primal relaxation that occurred that for me was so exquisitely sublime. And what's interesting, I experienced that kind of primal relaxation, maybe not physiologically in my body, but spiritually when I teach, right? And so a lot of what we're seeking is like, where do I feel flow?
Yes.
Where do I feel presence, deep presence and flow, right? Flow states. That's what we're seeking. And sometimes in sex, it's like, where could I find a flow state? And maybe asking ourselves that question can be so powerful as opposed to where can I find climax, right? Because where could I find flow state in sex opens a whole bunch of doorways of possibility.
And that's where it all becomes very meditative. You know, sex becomes psychedelic. It becomes meditative. And I want to premise this with describing what subspace is and dom space is, because that'll be really important for people to be able to anchor to. It's this space in which your whole consciousness and your body drops into that particular role. Everything else falls away. Everything else really dissolves, and your pure presence with whatever it is that you are doing. As it relates to subspace, you may drop into the experience of submitting. Like you said, with flow state, with meditation, your body may take on a role. Like sometimes my eyes will drop, or my body will drop, or it'll become really rigid depending on whatever it is that I'm playing out with my partner. When I'm doing rope bondage, I drop into a trance state. My body gets really limp, and you can move me anywhere and everywhere. And everything just relaxes into the being that's holding me. And everything else, I can't even tell you what's going on around me because I'm so in this pure presence of what's here. In dom space, it's the same way. It's like you feel the surge of power. You feel this experience of really holding as a container of somebody else, and you have them. You are so present to them. And the sub, is so present to themselves. So I had a teacher, Colette Pervet, who I also teach alongside. She uses this concept of the person who's the top, or the person who's dominating, is subconscious, meaning they are conscious of their sub. And the submissive, or the person playing out the bottom, is self-conscious, meaning they are fully conscious of themselves and their process of themselves. And this also helps us to feel the energy exchange between two people when they are solely in their roles. And this can be tied to the concept of polarity that we talk about in Tantra and energetics as well. This idea that two people are holding different roles, and if the person on bottom tries to do the top's job, it's going to break that desire. It's going to break that special magnetic energy between them. So in order to both maintain that polarity, but also to be able to bring somebody into submission, the person who is topping or dominating must hold a very tight container here, and a container of presence, of groundedness, and finding resonance of their groundedness with the other person and bringing them into a grounded state, a space of encouragement and freedom of judgment. And when any of these break, then that you can lose, the person on bottom no longer feels safe. You know, we have this in all forms and fashions, whether it's in relationships, if this is in my therapy room, if somebody loses presence, if somebody's not grounded in themselves, if they're not encouraging a safe space here, then why would anybody surrender into that? Why would anybody let go of their bodies? They can't trust that you're going to be able to hold them. And that's such an important key for any of this to happen. And love too. If we can't trust that our partner's going to be present with us, going to show up for us, and they get distracted or they're over here, we don't feel safe. Physiologically, we don't feel that in our body.
All right. So you said the word sexual awakening recently.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about what a sexual awakening is, how one can have it. I also want to address the fact that you still hadn't had sex until you were 23.
Yes.
And I couldn't go into Victoria's Secret. So we both earned our place at this table, which is important for people to understand, not because you have to earn your place, but because wherever you're starting out from, like you can make your way to ownership of your eros, ownership of your sexuality, right? Like we've both been on deep journeys to get to this thing that I know is a prize in both of our lives: play, eros, magic, celebration of sexuality, full expression of sexuality. And neither of us started anywhere near that.
No.
With our Catholic upbringing. So we'll address that quickly. But first, we're going to drink sex magic, which you were one of the very first people to ever try sex magic when we were at a birthday party in Mexico City. And I was like, yo, will you try this thing that I made? And you were like, absolutely.
With full enthusiasm? Yeah.
I'm literally sweating so hard that I have sweat dripping off of my elbow right now, and I was going to hide it. And I was like, wait, why would we hide that in this conversation?
I can lick it for you if you want. Would that make you feel better? Or maybe we'll just stick to sex magic.
Well, we can actually, Jameson, could we have some watermelon? Because Kat had a great idea. We'll feed each other watermelon as we drink the sex magic because...
And get you some juicy.
Yay. So this has really cool herbal ingredients. It's got saffron. It's got huperzine, which is a sexy moss that helps with lubrication. It's got cool things like ginger in it that help with vasodilation, as Dr. Wednesday Martin so intelligently called it, which basically means that you got more blood flow, which makes you more sensitive, shilajit, which gives energy. And the huperzine A is like the sexy, sexy moss. So it's this cool ritual that you can do to play, to do yoga, to have sex. I feel like it makes my body feel a little bit more glittery. It's legal herbs, so you got to, temper your expectations. It's not MDMA. But
important fact, yes.
Important fact. Sometimes people write in and they do the essential of like, why don't the legal herbs make me have 12 orgasms and stay up all night and feel the most like exquisite things in my body? And I'm like, because it's legal.
I get that question a lot with Kana because I use Kana in some of my breathwork classes that I do for sensuality. And I have to remind people, I'm like, this is not MDMA because it's people that's been spread, in the media of like, oh, Kana is the, replacement for MDMA. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's good.
It's more subtle. But the thing about being more subtle is you can do it every day.
Yeah.
You can't do MDMA every day. And also when we work with subtle plants and herbs, we also activate our connection. It's like coffee in some ways, unless you drink a ton of it, can be subtle. Tea is subtle, but there's still a noticeable effect. Mm-hmm. Bottoms up, baby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, damn, girl. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Do you want to dom feed me that watermelon as a sub so we can actually just demo?
Yeah. Bring me back to some good times.
Why keep this theoretical, All
right. I want you to hold my eye gaze. And I want you to open your mouth. I'm going to place this on your tongue. And you're going to count down from 3, 2, 1 before you swallow. Yeah? Yeah. Good. Count.
3.
A louder.
3, 2,
Yeah.
1.
I didn't tell you to swallow.
Mm.
And now.
Mm.
Such a good girl.
That tasted way better than any other watermelon I've ever tasted. And it's just so fun.
Yeah.
Playing with arrows.
It's the directing. Again, it's getting you so focused on your experience. You know, you're focused on what I'm doing, you know, and opening your mouth and feeling the taste and then waiting and then almost and then so there's an edging factor in there. And I really do believe that there is a part inside of us that wants to let go. You know, we have this inner urge to surrender, but there's this part of us that's afraid of what happens when we do that. And so this allows that to happen.